All right, say something.
Testing. Hello.
Yeah, I think your mic's working too. Yeah, it's kind of fun. Hi. Okay, so anybody that joins in, I have a special guest in the studio with me. It is my wife, Lori. Hiya, Linda. Hiya, Tim. So Lori and I went to the library today and picked up some books. And we're going to tell you about that in a second. This is the finished page from the live Wednesday night that we did last week. So, and Linda and Tim say hi, Lori. So here is, there it is, so you can see it a little more clearly. And so there we go. So this is that finished page, and I've been spending, how you doing, Robert? I've been spending some time today trying to catch up on this backlog of pages that I have to finish from the time that I haven't been on. Corbin, saying hi? Okay, good boy. All right. So this is all of these. But anyhow, that's that finished image. So, just ketchup? I like mustard. There we go. That's our tagline for the evening. Ketchup. I like mustard. So and Linda says hi, Corbin. So we've got so we went to the library, and there's a couple of fun and interesting things that we've picked up, and but I'm going to let Lori show the stuff that she's picked up first, because it's probably far more interesting than what I did.
Okay.
So I'm going to pass it over to her.
Okay. Well, the reason I went to the library,
I'll get this out of the road,
was because I'd been waiting for this book, and it finally came in, and it's Anthony Hopkins' autobiography.
We did okay, kid.
Thank you.
There you go.
So I'm excited about reading that.
There's a really interesting YouTube video by a guy named Nerdwriter, and he talks about the way that Anthony Hopkins dissects a section of lines that he has for a performance, and how he breaks them down into sentences, and then breaks the sentences down into the key idea that you want. And so it uses a section from Westworld where he says to somebody, and his emotions change every time. He says, "You don't like it here, do you? You Delos people." And just the way he pulls it apart, and then he emotes with the, accusatory face when he's like, "You don't like it here, do you?" He gives this sympathetic expression, and he goes, and then there's this sort of malicious eyes where he goes, "You Delos people," and he just denigrates this person to their job. And it's so powerful, but because he is honestly one of the greatest actors of our generation, or of his generation. So, okay, Corbin, sorry, hold on. Dad didn't let me say hello, everybody. That's so pathetic. Okay. All right, so here's your next book.
So then I just felt like I wanted to just randomly pick books off the shelf. So while I was walking down one of the fiction aisles, the spine of this caught my eye. You'll see if you show them the spine. There's an eyeball caught my eye.
Get it? I see you.
And so it looks like it's some sort of a New York detective type of book. Anyway, it was just intriguing to me. That was just a random pick.
Okay, but it's a lady.
Carol O'Connell.
I know, but I kept reading it as Carol O'Connor.
Oh yeah, no, not Archie
All right,
Bunker.
you. Blind sight. And there's a big eyeball on the spine. That Linda says this book looks good.
Yeah.
The Chalk Girl is an event. Any Mallory book is. She is as fine a fictional creation as the crime genre offers. Oh, well,
there you go.
That's the last book.
Yep.
Okay.
I thought that was pretty cool. And then because we have 5 adult children,
Oh boy.
we can always use some insight. So you and your adult child, how to grow together in challenging times.
Your voice makes this sound like a much nicer book than it is.
So I flipped it open.
Romance and marriage.
Well, I don't know. It was like you and your finances. And apparently it's when your child is 40 but you've not reached 70, something like that. I don't know. You're supposed to sit down and start sharing all your finances with them. I'm not quite sure why, but
it's a little long in the game to do that.
I think I need to read more about that.
That's something that's more beneficial to them if you do it when they're 25.
And then, this was a nice title, Closer Together. And then I realized it's by our former Prime Minister's former wife.
As I call her, the liberated woman.
You got to put it on the thing.
Know yourselves,
Gregoire.
loving each other, closer together.
So I thought that was a bit of an ironic title because she's just been through a separation.
Yeah, but she's also
divorce.
from Quebec, and it makes me think of The Box.
Oh.
The Box is the most, successful band in Quebec, and their major hit song was
Closer Together.
Closer Together. Yeah.
There you go. That's why. That's where the title
and then
came from.
the rest of the chorus goes, try to make it work out. Yeah, well, that didn't work out.
She's making it work out.
She got free. Good for her.
She looks happy.
Yeah, well, I would too.
And then, as always, trying to understand who I'm married to, I got Wired to Create, Unraveling the Mysteries of the Creative Mind.
Unraveling the mysteries of the creative mind. Whoa! Discover the 10 things highly creative people do differently. It's dedicated to a daydreamer and a player. Yeah. Mind wandering can be anything but mindless. The artist is dreamer. That's literally the page I just opened to.
Yeah.
That page is dreamy. And then driven to distraction. I don't know why I picked those pages. So is this book gonna solve for you the enigma, the riddle of the Sphinx?
No.
That is the mad ruminations of your creative studio troglodyte?
No,
Probably
but it'll
not.
give a little bit of guidance, maybe.
Well, shall we look at what one of the 10 reasons might be? Imaginative play. Passion. Laurie. Solitude. Solitude, I know. Mindfulness, sensitivity, turning adversity into advantage, thinking differently. Solitude, intuition, openness to experience, daydreaming, passion, and imaginative play. And all that follows the introduction entitled Messy Minds. Linda says, great library haul. These are inquiring minds. Well, on that note, Chris's books. Oh, boy. I signed out this. The Rules of Contagion.
So what's that about?
Why things spread and why they stop.
Oh.
So whether it's I'm hoping that it doesn't just,
Is this a nonfiction book?
yeah. But I'm hoping that it doesn't just focus on panics and pandemics. Well, that helps me actually right there, that it's panics and pandemics, because I was hoping that it wasn't entirely viral by Notion in a practical, laboratory setting, but the idea of the spreading of ideas.
Oh, okay.
Right? Because that's always interesting. And it's Adam Kukaraka. I don't even try to pronounce names anymore. I gave up on my own and spelled it differently.
Kacharsky is how I would say that.
Okay. Adam Kacharsky.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And people give praise for the rules of contagion, which is interesting. That's a weird thing to praise. And then I got this, which may well seem kind of random, but this, I've never been able to get all these issues of a book. And so I picked this up out of the library because I saw that it had the trade paperback to borrow. And the reason that I wanted to sign it out was because of this. This artist does some really interesting things.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a stylistic approach that they have to their storytelling that I think is just something else. Let me, here we go. Look at this. Look at these 2 pages here. I'll open them as best I can. But so this person's opening up their mind to illumination from the source of all knowledge and power. And then the next page, once she's overwhelmed by the experience, goes to this. In this really interesting way that the artist has chosen to depict this state of being. And I absolutely love things like that. He's got a very, very cool drawing style. He's got all kinds of twisting perspectives. He jumps from one thing to the next, and I really appreciate that. I really enjoy that. The coloring, I don't know, but I find that the coloring, I get why they're doing what they're doing, but there's so many interesting things happening here that are getting lost.
Mm.
And, there's a fantastic French artist, Mickey Montillo, that I really like. And he has almost a master class of coloring techniques and how he would color this panel very different. Mm-hmm. And yet it would resonate in the same way. So anyhow, this is the series that I'm really interested in reading. Look at how he's going to put this stylized piece in here to talk about this character out of costume who is the universe's greatest escape artist.
Yeah.
So anyhow, I really, really like this person's work, and I'm really greatly looking forward to reading this story. So, I signed that out. And on the flip side, so that artist, by the way, is named, I have to look it up. The artist is Evan Cagle. Evan Cagle. Fantastic. And a number of other people as well. And then on the flip side of things, the complexity part is nice, and the really interesting approach with all of that wonderful flourish that goes on throughout it. This is Clayton Henry. And Clayton Henry has this incredibly clean style that I like just as much.
Okay.
Right? Because both of them are fantastic storytellers. But I would argue that maybe Clayton Henry would be the easier of the two for people to connect to. Mm-hmm. Because of the cleanliness of it. And yet at the same time, look at these fantastic scenes that he's drawing here of this character hanging upside down from a light pole to take a picture of this guy.
Yeah, for me, this would be something I would read.
Yeah, well, it's more approachable,
Yes, more classic.
and you get the context here of them trying to hold up this section of bridge.
Yeah, that's cool.
Very, very, very good work. There's a reason that somebody's getting the jobs. But yeah, just again, that's just to keep it hot and fresh. There's two very different approaches that I've signed out, and just because when I get into the store, not all the books are there. Like of this 4-issue run or whatever that I want to read, and even if I request things, sometimes they don't make it in the bag in the first place. But especially if I request them with my son. Sean, can you see if there's a copy of that Blue Beetle #6? Yeah. Can you check? I'll check when I have a sec. I'll let you know.
So you don't get any special.
And then I call him as he's walking home from work, and he says, "Oh, I forgot to do that. I'll do it on Sunday." I'm like, he's not going to remember it until Sunday. He couldn't remember it from when he hung up the phone to walk across the room. So, so I miss issues. I love them. But, I've been playing a bit lately with some of the pieces that I've been doing, and I've been showing some of these as they're in progress still. Like, well, here, I'll just open these ones. Linda says we have inquiring minds. Oh my goodness. So this one people saw, this is where it's just a whole load of random drawings out of a sketchbook.
Oh,
and then I cut and
you showed me that.
Put those into a composition and uniform the values. And then this is just, again, playing with textures and stuff like that. I'm having a lot of fun doing this kind of thing. And I strongly encourage people to try these sorts of things. I'm doing whole screen effects, and so I'll just lay down this pattern on the whole thing and then erase out everything I don't want in there.
Oh,
which is probably the hardest way to do it, but that, hey, sensible. That's not the word underneath the picture of me in the book. So, and then again, having fun with the complexity of patterns that I can put down. Yeah.
That's a super interesting image.
Yeah. It's all about drinking milk. Cosmic milk. What? Sometimes I just draw and the thinky uppy of what the idea is comes along the way.
Yeah.
Hence definitely. The milk.
This is why I need bones. Unraveling the mysteries of the creative mind.
I might need to read that myself. So yeah, and then this is why I also produce things like this. Hot dog. Did you see hot dog today?
No, I didn't. That reminds me, I have to order hot dogs for the grandkids.
That sounds about right. Yeah, so this again is a couple of random little sketches out of one of my sketchbooks. It passed me the green one there.
I feel like you may be drawing upon some real life observations with the hot dog eating.
Oh yeah, we've seen some hot dog spectacles. But I drew there. See, that's from these pages. So there's the guy eating a hot dog. There's the older lady. There's her legs. And there it is all together. It's very random. And then the background is marker drawing that I did of just random geometric shapes and trying to, do some silly sci-fi things, and then I just destabilize the colors so that it's something in the background, but it's not necessarily the important thing in the background.
Yeah.
So Can you pass me one of the ink pens? The one on a weird angle there. Yeah. So this is, I showed this week. I've taken a water reservoir pen, a water reservoir brush system, where you fill it with water, you squeeze it, and it loads water into the brush bristles. You dip it into your watercolor paints, and you paint with watercolor. But what I've done is, because I really enjoy doing the large drawings with the Tombos, but they're a synthetic foam-like brush at the end, and they break down after X amount of usage. So what I've done is, because this is actual, maybe they're synthetic, but they're still a brush, and I filled it with ink. And so in testing this out, here's my first little doodle of an alleyway that I've done using one of these. So I'm pretty pleased with the process. So we're going to do a little bit more of that. The other thing I wanted to show was the drawing that I started. Was this yesterday?
Yes.
Trying hard to keep up with what I'm doing in whatever minute. So this is the drawing that I did with a red China marker. And it's on its side, but there's the entire 11 by 17 image. But what I did is I got carried away and I kept on going. So I've overlapped them a little bit. So this is the second page part of it, and it also is 11 by 17, same China marker. And so I've scanned these two. It took 6 scanned images to, and then I had to assemble those. But that was the page that I believe I posted today, which is helping. So there's that. So then it becomes a case of going in and, cleaning up any of the, mistaken lines in the overlap, and, tidying it into one image, one flat image, and then applying the structure and the story to it. So that came together pretty easily. But I mean, they're really large images by comparison to, well, this. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it's 22 or 20, I guess would be probably 20 by 17 for the whole thing. And yeah, so those get thrown into the pile. At this point, it's just get thrown into the pile. So we've got, so this is the Stonehenge piece of paper. So it's a rag paper. It's very thick. It's a heavyweight. And because I always find that heavyweight Stonehenge is more workable. I tried the Japanese paper that we picked up the other day at the Craft Hive. I don't remember where I put it. Oh, it doesn't matter. And I find that I know what I can do with it, but it's not going to work just directly as paper to draw on in ink. Oh, okay. Because it separates. So the fibers pull off. So if I glob water here mm-hmm. and I brush over, some of it will pull up. Mm. Some of the fibers that are within it. So that's not going to help us. So, no. So what I'm going to end up doing is, sectioning pieces of it out and attaching those pieces together so I have larger drawing surfaces to work on. But then what I'm going to end up doing is doing a prime coat on it, like priming up with the paint. Okay. So like a white, a base color paint, and then drawing on top of that. So it won't work in that regard for ink, but I do have this roll still of the Craft wrapping paper that doesn't separate when I put ink on it. And so I can utilize both these things together. And they're both 30-foot rolls. So we're going to get some mileage out of them.
It's a lot.
Yeah. But some of this Stonehenge paper, this rag drawing paper that I have, I'm not sure that they might be older than our youngest. Some of these pages. I've had kicking around for so long.
Really?
Yeah. So, because I used to really enjoy drawing on
So,
Stonehenge,
for-
and I used to do much bigger drawings on
So
it.
20 plus years.
So this is 20 plus years old. Yeah, I know that's older than you, Corbin. Yeah, I'm still a young man. So yeah. Now I thought. Also, I got given a new pen by my physiotherapist today. Quantum physiotherapy. They really helped me out.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
Yeah, but it was quite a process.
Mm-hmm.
It was a much more surprising process than I thought it would be. So what I've been talking about this before. These are the art dice that our youngest daughter got me for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been using them. I've been rolling them out and then
okay.
doing, but I don't roll all of it.
No.
I only roll a few dice. Otherwise, it's nine elements that have to be incorporated in, which includes mood, texture, color, style, setting, medium, and 3 different subjects. So that's a bit much. But so yeah, so we can use those tonight. I was trying to think of if there was anything else that I haven't shown people since our Craft Hive trip, but I went to the Craft Hive specifically to get a brush pen that I can reload.
Oh, okay.
And they didn't have one.
No.
And as I was standing there looking at these on the wall, a set of these on the wall,
Yeah.
which I didn't pick because I knew I had some at home, I realized I could fill those suckers with ink.
So did you just buy ink there then?
No, I bought other tools and an ink tray. I bought amongst them is this little ink tray here, and the paper, because she was absolutely sure that's perfect for drawing on an ink.
Okay.
And it's not, but I love the Craft Hive. That's such a wonderful store. It's the I think it might be the only art store that you've ever been forced to walk into with me that you went, oh, this place is nice.
Yeah, I can find things that are interesting.
Yeah, it's a heck of a lot different than other, art stores where everything's either sitting right on top of you, threatening to fall over, or it's a corporate store.
It definitely has an ambiance to it that other stores don't.
So I've got this surface here that we can work on, but I have nothing planned as per se. I've been coloring pages all day. I mean, I flick through them really quickly, but I don't know. Give me a second. I'm opening up another file just for a blank background. So this is about Rome, but not about Rome.
Okay.
A populace kept entertained is less likely to openly revolt. In order to hold on to his power, the emperor knew to distract the people. I should have said the Roman emperor. He gave them spectacle. He built large colosseums to gather in. He gave them heroes to adulate. That's the gladiators that I'm referring to.
Yeah.
And they had no idea. This little comparison to today. And then this is, one of my favorite 1980s songs. Spewed out of our star during a coronal mass ejection, he was flung towards our planet. He is the hottest hero ever, which is why he's the inspiration for the hit song, My Coronal. It's so stupid.
It's a bit of a stretch.
Oh, Linda's going to check out on Tim. Right on. Say hi to Tim first. So this is, instead of Sharona, it's coronal.
I know, but it's still...
And
a
this
bit
is
of a stretch.
relief.
Yeah.
Disaster relief.
This is, it makes you want to really understand what happened, and it's horrible.
Can you see the ball?
Yeah, you made me find it the other day.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Right there.
Boink! The only round thing in the whole drawing, really. And then hot dog is another one. I haven't put text on this yet because I'm, or this. But, so it's there's a style. This is something that we talked about before on the stream, is that people talked about the idea of style and your voice that comes through in your work.
Mm-hmm.
And, even if this is in crayon marker, like China marker, this is in ink, then colored digitally. This is ink and I think paint background. It's, destabilized digitally. This is drawn in with a brush pen. This is in pencil. The original is next to impossible to see because it's in a light green pencil.
Mm.
So then, together it comes. And then this is markers. I drew this in markers.
Oh, okay.
You can see the marker lines here in the
yeah.
chest. But, that's still, that voice comes through, I think, even if it's using different materials. So anyhow, I've got this surface to work on and to play with this a little bit more, or I can do whatever else. What do you think I should work on?
Whatever you feel like it.
Oh boy. That could lead to trouble. Okay, so unless anybody that ends up watching the stream has other ideas or tunes in and has an idea, feel free to shoot it at me. And I don't mind switching up. I've left it open that if people have any thoughts or questions about one-page stories or mediums that I might be using, or, and the rest, ideas, types of storytelling, whatever it might be, feel free to put it in the comments or send it to me on the social medias. But how long do you think it's going to be of you reading this book before you glean some magical insights?
Not long.
Is it because the opening chapter is the messy mind? Chris's mind is messy. So I've got this little ink container here. So my intention is I'm going to squeeze some ink out of this, enough so that we've got a nice dark value that's coming through. And then I can dip back into, so I don't lose the ink that I've squeezed out, I can dip back into the tray. That's the reason that I got it, was the tray. So you can see how the bubbling around the end of the brush as I squeeze the liquid out. Hopefully that's big. There you go. See, look, big old doop. So I've got something I kind of want to draw. It's a little bit random, but I want to draw an airplane engine, which is a tiny bit mental. But this is a really good thing to challenge myself with. So, we'll see how it goes.
Okay, how about this?
Okay, here she goes.
Reflecting on their biggest breakthroughs, many innovators have described elusive solutions as coming to them in a sudden flash of insight, while artists often describe their best ideas arising as if out of nowhere.
They come from our inspirados.
Yeah, that's the chat from the chapter about intuition.
Yeah, I think that both of those things are the same. It's just a different language used to describe them.
Yeah, no, it's making the same point.
Yeah.
That intuition, your gut feel, rather than analyzing everything, which I'm more analytical, and figuring out, what you're going to do next.
Yeah, but this might be a misnomer, though, because artists think a lot while they're working.
Mm-hmm.
There's an awful lot of, hence me buying a book about viruses, right? Like or signing out a book, I didn't buy it, but there's an awful lot of considerations that we have in our heads that may well relate to a topic, or we may draw upon in the future with a topic. But there's less rhyme or reason about it, how we go about it. Mm-hmm. For the most part. I think that if we want to expand creatively, to be able to undertake drawing different things and to exploring, does that focus it better? Maybe I need to kick on the overhead. That might be a little bit better. But it's less, sometimes less deliberate, maybe, about the way that we go about things. Sometimes maybe less formulaic, but we draw on that intuitively later on. Mm-hmm. So, like, if you want to improve drawing things, rather than saying, I can't draw horses, draw some horses.
Yeah.
Right? And, allow yourself the realization that it's okay that X amount of those horses are really going to stink for a while. And, it's going to be something that you've got to allow time for. I'm trying to get the focus to kick in here, but it's really not. It's being very disagreeable. So I think that that's a challenge in and of itself, is because other people would, especially in the scientific process, you've got a regimen of things that you specifically have to follow, in lab work or testing. There are similar practices in drawing and painting and music and the like, that there are regular practices that you need to follow in order to develop yourself to that point of fulfilling those things. But there's a lot more jazz in the creative part of things. And I think when you look at it from non-creative things, that jazz comes into play when you have those insights, when you take that separate leap. Mm-hmm. Where, Mary Curie made her discoveries by going through a regimental process using the scientific method. But those insights that she picked up along the way is what made her figure out, was it pasteurization? Is that Mary Curie?
I think so.
And, well, that she did. So there are creative leaps that happen in the most non-creative of fields. It's just they're less attributed to it, I think. Oh. So this is the start of the airplane engine that I'm drawing, for anybody that's joined in later. And my wife Lori is looking at insights that we're gaining from the book that she signed out, Wired to Create.
So this is interesting, and explains why you picked out a book about contagion.
Because I got plans for the city.
Most meaningful artistic and scientific achievement comes from intimate interactions between the artist and some object of inquiry in his or her world. The artist's observations become a means of answering the fundamental questions of art. What does it mean to be a human being?
That's, yeah, that kind of hits a nail on the head.
You always talk about that like it's if it's happened once, it's happened 1,000 times. Where we'll be driving and you'll say, Lori, did you see that guy back there? Or did you see that house back there? Or I'll be like, no, Christopher, I'm paying attention to driving. Or I don't look all the way around like you do.
There's so many things to see. Did you see that weird dude? No. He was right there. Well, you do it. You do it too. Like but the problem with me is, and maybe most creative types, is that we forget to draw back into that, objectively draw back in. You pointed something out. What is that big structure at the side of the road? As we were driving.
I'm spotting garbage on the side of the road. You're spotting inspiration for your art.
I like drawing garbage in my art. But you point that out, and I'm like, I'll look for it on the way back. Of course I didn't.
Because it doesn't matter. That's why.
Of course I didn't. That's not my garbage. I think that there's all kinds of different ways that we can undertake incorporating things that we see and hear into whatever it is that we do. And through that might be the break that we need in order to answer a dilemma or answer a problem that we're finding in our creative process.
Mm-hmm.
How do I draw this to look like this?
Yes.
Or like it's an interesting, I guess would be the trope is the word, where in detective shows, you'll see this empathetic moment that the detective has because he looks at a glass of orange juice and he realizes, wait a minute, the liquid that was spilled on the floor means that the person was shocked to death first. And that's why they fell and their head was hit,
Yeah.
And everybody has to run out of the restaurant and everybody goes, what has he discovered? No. The genius detectives, I don't know that we have massive discoveries from orange juice, but I see where the idea is. So I'm just drawing as I go across the engine here and trying to. I have an image of an airplane engine, and I'm just finding ways to put some marks down in order to represent the different parts of the construction. And because I'm not laying it out beforehand, we're just going, rather than scaling the whole thing and structuring the large shapes, we're just drawing from one side to the next. Realizing that I started on the wrong side, using my right hand and moving leftward. Which means they go, yeah. So about halfway, I think I'll switch and draw the rest of it upside down.
Yeah, that's tricky.
I end up doing silly things like that all the time. Why? Intuition and lack of planning. So I'm still picking up bits of ink from the tray as I squeezed out the first time as I was loading the brush with ink. So I've yet to, so I'm really getting the most usage I can out of the ink that's in the brush. And so this should last me some time. And the reason that I'm spending X amount of time with this is to do it performatively, where I will work on large drawings in front of people.
Okay.
Not, I mean, I am here, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And with anything, It's just Carnegie Hall practice. That's how you get there. It's a reference that doesn't make any sense to young people because Carnegie Hall is, I believe, closed. So, yay me. Okay, boomer. What have you discovered this time?
Creative work doesn't require adversity, and it's important to remember that the myth of the tortured artist is just that, a myth. Yoko Ono explains.
She says,
no one should encourage artists to pursue tragedy so that they might become a good artist. You don't have to have tragedy to create.
Interesting. You know, one of my favorite Yoko Ono things is the song by the Bare Naked Ladies. They have a song about Yoko Ono.
Oh.
You can be my Yoko Ono.
Oh, yeah.
You can follow me wherever I go. Yeah. A little bit of love and support for somebody who's often blamed for the demise of the Beatles. So I'm going to put a little more ink out of this sucker here to draw upon. So this works really well. I have absolutely no idea how much ink I have in it, but it's mostly full.
Oh, I thought it was...
That's all ink in there.
Solid black, because it's not a clear...
It's a clear container.
But what do you mean that you don't know how much ink you have?
Well, because when you move ink around in the thing, the ink coats the outside or the inside of the thing. Right. So you kind of got to trust the weight of it to really kind of understand how much ink is in it. Because you can't necessarily trust what you can see because you can't see a lot. That, I know I just filled it. So, how you doing, Liz? Welcome aboard. We've got a guest tonight. It's my wife, Lori, and she is reading excerpts from Wired to Create. I'm going to say it differently every time. Why? It's creative, Lori. She's trying to understand the way my mind works. And if I try to explain it, it would involve a chalkboard. We don't have one right now. So, you know, I used to have a chalkboard. So I'm following around the form as I'm drawing the parts of the turbine and so forth from the airplane engine and trying to get all the fiddly bits in here. It's a very small drawing that honestly should have been done much larger for how fiddly, is that the word you use, Lori?
Mm-hmm.
How fiddly it is with all of its little parts. That's all right. We'll get through it together, folks. So I'm drawing the end of the engine first, and then moving my way into the larger area where it has the big fan that we all, you know, recognize. An airplane engine is just the fan part, but this is all the internal stuff that's usually sheathed in
and that you're hoping will work.
In the assembly on the wing, and yeah, you're hoping what's going on inside is the right stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's full of seagull guts. Whatever other unfortunate thing might happen. The unsuspecting avian organisms that get caught in front of an airplane. All right, what do you got next, Lori?
Okay, this is from the daydreaming chapter.
Daydreaming.
While there are a number of distinct creative benefits associated with mindfulness, being distracted isn't always a bad thing.
What's that? Thank you very much.
Consciousness is continuously moving with ever-changing content, but also ebbs like a breaking wave, outwardly expanding and then inwardly retreating. Successful innovators are often adept in harnessing both of these important mental states, as their creative process calls for them. A connection to our inner selves and our stream of consciousness is undeniably what makes us creative.
So now do you get why I called the book that is almost done a stream of consciousness book?
Well, yeah, no, that makes sense to me.
You just don't like that the working title is Stream of Conceitedness.
No, I don't like that.
Well, you're going to have to come up with a new title. The reason I call it Stream of Conceitedness is because I fashioned the main character to look like me, which is a little conceited. What it really is, always having a model to reference from. But it's a stream of consciousness book.
Yeah, so it
makes sense in that regard.
Stream of Christopher.
Stream of Christopher. Is that not more egocentric?
Well, I mean, you could say that about autobiographies. Is Anthony Hopkins' autobiography conceited?
Well, I think he's got interesting stories to tell.
Yeah.
And he's got some interesting approach to process that would be helpful for others to share. Right? Hence why people study it, right? It's like Dame Maggie Smith. There was an actress who had a very specific process that she worked from.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see it throughout the body of her work from when she was a young woman straight through until, Downton Abbey. I know it's Downton Abbey.
I was going to say.
I know. Oh, Chris says hi to everybody. Say hi, Lori.
Hi, Chris.
Your voice is much nicer than mine. You should just do all the talking from now on. So I'm just continuing to draw an airplane engine. So Monday of next week, I have the next comic jam. And it's going to be the first comic jam that I and hopefully my friend Doug are back to. Since the calamity at the end of 2025. So hopefully it's starting to take on shape and structure now. Aha, all knowing, all seeing Chris. There we go. How you doing, Chad? So I open the conversation to people in the chat that if you're working on any projects, feel free to share that with people. And a really helpful way in order to help ourselves grow creatively is to take a look at what other creatives are doing. Because in there might be something that you see, much like the pages that I showed you earlier for the two different approaches to drawing. There may well be something in their process that you see that you're like, oh, I would like to implement that. I think it was Yvonne Alexander who did it's the first person I saw do jelly plating.
Yeah.
And through that is where I started incorporating that into pages. Like, let me move this for a second. This, one of these pages, let me find it. The background of this page, you can see a little lattice pattern that goes on in here. And then again over here, this is something that I can source for a background fill that came to me from And she gave me a bunch of jelly plated surfaces that she made. And so that's what this is. And so I took this scan and I put it into the background of this image. So that's kind of fun. So it's, it's strange and interesting the way that we can incorporate stuff into what it is that we're doing. So do you mind, underneath the red paper, the red bundle of paper there are a bunch of Comic Jam pages. I can show people those. So I'm going to move this for a second. And put these in camera. So these are Comic Jam pages, and because Chris says, could you take pics of the Comic Jam to see what you do? When's the jam? Monday, 6 to 9. Okay, so this is some of the pages from the Comic Jams. And so what it is, and let me find, here, I'll just put that on top of the red there. Okay, so here we go. These are, the reason the big numbers is because we collect them, print them, so that people that attend in these events can have copies of some of the things that they've done. Now, so with this one, somebody has drawn the first panel, and it says, in that first panel, it says, I think I'm a robot. And so in the next panel, the next person has drawn in their own way, I believe I am human. And then everybody says, no, you are not. And here's one of those angry people with the robot. It says, ultimate team up, thumbs up. And then they give each other a big smooch, happy pride. 10 years later, tensions have arisen. And so each one of these images is done by a different artist and writer. And so each panel is the next person contributing to the contextual narrative that's established. And so by the time you're getting to here, can they fix their marriage before it's too late? And then here's matching gravestones, and it says, we worked it out eventually. And then the next person, because we're not done the whole page and they're dead.
Yeah.
Rise from your grave. And then so the robot pops out, and then as this hand tries to come out, which may well be the angry person. Yeah. The robot smacks him in the ground and says, get back in there. So however the page starts, you have no control of and no idea of where it's going to go. No. Because you can see how people are flipping the narrative along the way. And so there's an awful lot of contributors. We have people write their names on the back. And so we try to list them as we go. See that place down there? I think we can all see it, the other person says. And then the third person says, let's go weird them out. So these are individuals on a spaceship looking at Earth, or as other aliens like to call it, planet Dirt. That's what Terra means. And then so all the aliens come down, and people seem to be walking by completely oblivious to them. So the one says, I thought this would be easier. Time for another day at the School of Visually Challenging People. So, we love you, son. Try to stay safe. It's aliens. Check on the new guy. It's just how each person carries this forward is really fun, And again, you have no idea where it's going to go. The only consistency that's ever really asked for is that whatever the contextual narrative is, as ideas are added along the way, somebody needs to keep track of those. In the sense that if a person, you can have 1 or 2, 3 panels go by without specific reference towards the early establishment of the contextual narrative.
You want to keep the core.
Somebody needs to bring it back.
Yeah.
Right? So, and then, we've completely inverted the narrative here, because see that place down there, And then down here in this panel, it says, Sai, I wonder if there's a place for me out there.
Mm.
You know, and he's looking up at where they might possibly have been looking down from.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the aliens, one of which has a shirt that says, hey, which makes me giggle. Sky City, visit the outer realm. And then it closes with all the aliens with their human. You know, we all have weird eyes in Sky City. I finally feel at home. So, you know, there's very different directions that people can take. There's a bird saying to Sesame Street looking bird, now listen up, you grab the key now and I won't have to hurt you for your impudence. Jim says hi to everybody.
Hi, Jim.
Chris says, I'm considering using your idea of creating this page with my students next week's creativity in one of my courses. Well, let me know if I can help, Chris. So here's another page. Somebody has introduced it with a raccoon lady. Been a while since I've called my mom. This is a beautiful thing about an all ages event, and the different age groups have different headspaces. Like there's a very direct way that really young people talk.
Yeah.
There's a very personal experience way that, you know, late teens and young adults speak with. And then, you know, so the person that did this panel, I think she's like 23. And then the next person that did this panel is in 60s.
Okay.
And so, you know, it's been a while since I've called my mom. And what's the next panel? Oh, who is it now? So, you know, and then the other person says, ignore it. So there's some great things that happen in these. Here's incorporating different characters on a page. You know, and as it continues along, and it's as it goes throughout, you see more and more characters being added in, very stylistically different approaches to it, but more and more characters coming in the narrative. Yeah. And somebody says at the end, remember, kids, all drawings are true and valid. Add as many characters as you like. Excuse me. This is fun. It's a excuse me, I have a drink. It's a one-eyed guy, and the other person says, hey, try these. Chris, Liz is asking what your class is called. So, frankly, I'm not even sure what I'm looking at. What is this? No idea. It just goes on and on. So you can see the different styles that are in the pages, the different people that are doing work. I play this game where I try to emulate the style of the person in front of me, because as we've got younger people, you don't want to offset them by having the, you know, they're drawing and the next person tries to really flash the pan, you know, and then they feel disheartened and like, oh, I could draw like that, so I'm not going to draw anymore. So we don't want to do that. I'm a tomato. What rhymes with tomato? That's our first panel. I'm a tomato. What rhymes with tomato? And of course, the go-to is potato. And my response is persuado. It's being persuasive.
Okay.
Tornado. What a strange snow globe. So that fourth panel turns all of this into nonsense going on in a snow globe. Did you say strange bathrobe? Oh, you found my antique snow globe. The tomato, potato, tornado snow globe that my Nana gave me. Fantastic fun.
Like, the imagination just floors me.
Well, this is the thing. This does a couple of different things. It opens you up to explore new ideas. Somebody draws a duck in the first panel, and you're picking up that page. You might have to draw the duck, you know. Sands. Now, I don't know if that means something in if it's the French sans or without. And then the next person writes serif, like the typeface. And then it turns into typefaces. Monospace, Arial, Old English, bonk. There is only one solution, Comic Sans.
Okay, so this is my last quote, and it's to do The last chapter is thinking differently. A sense of play is an important asset when generating new and different ideas. This is a perfect example of
Oh, of
that.
course it is.
It's
Yeah,
all about play.
this is exactly why I've been doing this for 10 years with people at the gallery. Chris, what's your class called? Chris says to Liz, I teach English as foreign language, but that unit is creativity in my life, so it's new vocabulary and grammar, but I play creative games with the students. And Chris is having dinner and laughing. So this is the sort of thing that you can do with people. I have a couple of rules. I have, it's an all ages event, so, watch the language and keep your weird sociosexual hangups to yourself. Let's make it available to everybody. So, hello, my name is Ted, and I am a potato. See, this is what I'm talking about with young people.
Oh, now
the little guys are all.
With the potato and the tomato.
Je suis la French frire. I am the French fryer. Get it? He's a fryer.
Yeah.
I'm the hero of Fakrach. Yum. Uh-oh. No! Horror! This is the perspective of the French fry.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the horrible monster that has eaten the French fry cackles with maniacal glee. Once again, you have underestimated my power. Revenge shall be mine, says the French fry within the stomach. You want some ketchup for them things? No! Ketchup. I guess that's the power.
Okay.
Yeah. You going to head out?
Yeah.
Okay, you want to say bye?
Thanks for having me.
Okay. I could show a few more of these to people if you're interested, if people are liking these, because they are a lot of fun. Or I can go back to drawing an airplane.
I think you want to show more pages.
Why not? Let's show a few more. Let me see. Let's pick out. Here's an interesting fusion. It's Darth Vader and a number of stormtroopers. Lori, everybody says bye. And the stormtroopers are dancing to It's a Hard Knock Life for us. It's a hard knock life. Anyways, this is from Annie. And then Annie comes kicking in the door and says, that's copyright. And Darth Vader shoots a laser gun at Annie and says, I don't care. Who let her in? Get me the head of security. Sir? Uh-oh. I am displeased. I just wanted to make a more positive biopic before Rick Moranis makes fun of me again. That's a great joke because they're making us follow up the Spaceballs. Oh, and Chet says those are all great. Nice job, Jammers. It's a lot of fun, isn't it? Like it's really something else. Look at the surreality that this person comes in with. Hey, kid, you want to buy a jar? I don't need a jar. I have a door. Oh, it's too good. That's too good. What about a door made of jars? Oh, what's behind it? Jarland. What's the point? Look at it. So here, what's behind it? Looking through the door, through the keyhole in the door. Sees Jarland on the other side. Then we go back to a perspective of Jarland, looking at the keyhole eye sticking out. What's the point? And then in they come spilling through the doorway. You can use jars to store important things, like more jars. A jar filled with jars, a jar filled jars, and a jar. It's too confusing. Who am I talking to? Who are you? I am German. And then, of course, there's a broken jar at the end. Like, just the way that people jump from left to right in these is just, this is part of the fun. This is part of the way it really opens people up. Here's a duck one. I cite duck ones because a lot of people don't want to draw ducks. This is a duck. He likes to do duck stuff, huh? But he has a dark secret. No, he doesn't like seeds. He loves tacos. Who doesn't? Sound from Roblox. Num, num, num. Oh, okay. So now we have the duck, which says, I love, I'm not sure, taco, eating a taco. And shell-filled tacos. It's a person with duck lips. Ducks tacos. Come on down, duck down. There we go. Taco duck. Is that cooked meat? Not fermented enough. They better be whey. A goose does not concern himself in the affairs of sparrows. Weightlifting duck. To make the choice between tacos and physical beauty, too much for a duck. This is so good fun. This is so much fun. Let's see, what do we got? Here's some fish. Let's jump to the fish one. So, a sad fish in an aquarium dreams, bubble, 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 of being a muscular fish. Evolutionarily, it's a step backwards, says the octopus. Or are you thinking about having legs again, says the octopus here. And then usually because we're following the Tracopana, but they meant it to be up here. Are you thinking about having legs again? Evolutionary is a step backwards. I don't know what evolutionary means, but I know I don't want to hear about it from Mr. Eight Legs and an attitude there. I could wear one, maybe two shoes at once. I may not have thought this through. What in the world? The shoes aren't the only thing you can wear. I can still fit into the tank, but at least I can dry out and die with style. So there they are in fancy boots. So this is the sort of stuff that, is done by an all-age assortment. I've been at this for 10 years. I think that's somebody drawing me. These are so good. Laz asks, too many quackers today? Oh, yeah, I've been eating quackers since dawn. Laz. Yeah, I know, Laz. I got issues. I've been at this for 10 years. And he drinks the fluid. Oh, I guess he died? I'm not sure. Oh, no, he's superpowered now. I've never seen a duck so odd as that before. Oh, ducks can get odder and sneakier. Ninja duck. Oh, lots of ninja ducks. And so that you've got so many ducks, you're going to have a goose. Duck, 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 goose. I guess you can tell I threw the goose in. But yeah, so anyways, I've even tried getting people to draw landscape format pages now. And this has turned out some wild results because look at that great big hole. I wonder what is in there. What's that whole scent and what that whole scent and darkness can teach us about? Hello, children. Follow me on my thingamajigger and I'll show you. So then we have this course of digging through. There's a yield sign. There's a buy sign. Got to have some adverts. Here he is in his thingamajigger. Dup, 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 dup. Now we've broken through here. We've come out the other side of the mine, past bats. Uh-oh, octopus alien. There it is in the background through the view screen. Now, children, would you like to learn from the darkness? Somebody's drawing a scary head. It's mother. I am mother. My eyes. Oh, God. Go to bed, says the mother. Listen to your mother, says the eyes in the darkness. Where else? So I guess you finally found somewhere to get that pack of darts and milk. Shut up and make me a sandwich. All right. It's a crazy ending. I love it. But what a circuitous journey that is. You need two things stuck together, then you need this tape. I know what this tape can do. Let me show you. What are you doing? No, stop. Mr. Gorilla, no. Behold, tape ape. Oh, look at all the things that have been taped up. Can you stick my broken heart back together? It is bonkers. So this is incorporating the Teletubbies. So those of you that are advocates of, Teletubby respect, brace yourselves. I got to make a move to a town that's right for me. For rent. Tinky Winky. It's a really friendly community, lovely neighbors, great atmosphere. Gurgle gaga. There's the Teletubbies. The woman says, I'm really scared right now, surrounded by the demons. Tubby Custard. Oh, it's for me? Tubby Custard. Thanks. Please drop some for me. I guess that's the vacuum cleaner. It's hungry. No, go back to your hole. Eat, eat, eat. Oh, they've been fattening her up with the Tubby Custard, maybe. Or maybe they're going to join in on what they eat. This is right for me. There you go. So it's, okay, here we are. I farted. Look at this wonderful drawing. Look at this. What an interesting way to explore line. This is by our good friend Tristan Damone, who helps me put together the books. I farted and everyone in line knows it was me. You're disgusting. We know that you did it. You did. But now we're first in line, so that's okay. That's brilliant. So all those pages are from volume 9 of our Comic Jam books that we do. We've done 10 so far in a magazine format, and then we've done 7 in a comic book format over the years. And here, let me see if I can find one handy to show you. Hi, Lucy. Here's Squeaky Lucy. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, here we go. So this is amongst the books that Lori and I have published over the years. This is one of the Comic Jam comics that we did. And we list all of the participants that are taking part in this event and the pages. And so there's some really compelling things that come out of it. So in this page, and I'll hold it up so it's a little more legible, but whatever reason, my focus has gone the way of the dodo tonight. So there's a person hanging on a waterfall that says, help. There's a closer shot. They're being held up by a tree that has latched onto their undergarments. And then the tree says, I know this is obvious, but there is something on my lower appendage. Awkward. And then we cut over to a squirrel. It says, meanwhile, yay, nuts, help, huh? So that we are losing structural integrity, says the tree as the shorts begin to rip. Mother. And they fall. So the shorts rip. The tree says, ha! The undergarments flip off into the air. And he says, nuts. And then the squirrel, who's now dove over the waterfall, uses his magic powers, grabs a hold of the guy, and throws him back up onto the log again and says, save those nuts for winter. But that's 9 separate artists. There's no divider line there. But that's 9 separate artists that worked on that page. So that's fantastic, to be able to find something. Here's a robot shoots a laser at a guy, and continues to shoot his laser, cooking all kinds of folks. And then one of them says, pardonnez-moi, tournez off torch, which is not French. It's not a flashlight, silly, it's a laser. This says the young girl that's in the robot costume. So, so this is, again, just another collection of illustrations. And the age and the style does not matter. It all has to be perfect artists. It all has to be, whatever kind, like starting artists. So here's a young person. At the river, the conspiracy club goes canoeing. Come on, roll faster. Ugh. That waterfall's not real. It's a conspiracy. Back to the waterfall again. And then here's a Sasquatch and the Loch Ness Monster. And the Sasquatch says, I don't believe it. And the Loch Ness Monster says, yeah. And then we cut over to this bear that says, Personally, I've never believed in waterfalls. And then an otter says, waterfalls in my community? For whatever reason, he's holding a Bic lighter. So, this is the level of fun that's to be had at a Comic Jam. And the rules are really easy. Somebody illustrates the first panel, and I'll find a portrait format to show you. So somebody writes and illustrates that first panel and flips it over and signs their name on the back. Okay, inks their drawing, and then they slide that page in the middle of the table. The next person does the next panel and continues this contextual narrative. So here's a city shot. Here's a person in an office cubicle, right? And then up comes a television screen, says mandatory 5-minute advertisement. President Musk says, buy my terrible cars. Time for my job at the microplastics factory. And the next person who doesn't know how to continue this, for some reason, introduces a new element. What am I supposed to do with all that exposition? Always with the attitude, is it bad to make money? And then Dolphin answers, it is. Have fun working for Lockheed Martin. I'm going into non-profit. And it says one non-profit later, this was a mistake. I'm a failure. Who will save the robot cats now? All that work, all that time for nothing. And here's a robot cat. Meow, beep, beep. I'm sorry, Ketchup. I'm a cyber flunk. Cyberpunk. Cyber flunk. That's great. So first person does their thing, signs it on the back, slides it in. Second person does their thing, signs it on the back, sends it across into the table. Third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th, 12th. It's really, really liberating to have, you can start a page if you feel like you want to start some kind of dialogue or some story notion, or you can just jump in on an existing page. There's no one way or the other has to be the way to go about it. But what that does in both of those scenarios is that it forces you to engage one way or the other. You have to instigate the story, or you have to add to the pre-existing narrative idea. You can, like the dolphin, you can add in a new element that has been seen up until then. But like I said earlier, while Lori was still here, somebody has to call back to those earlier elements and draw that structure back together again. Because that's what ties it all up nicely by the end. There are pages where it didn't make rhyme or reason through the entirety of it was just one thing added after another, because you got a lot of new people out and they're learning the process of sequential storytelling, so they'll just keep adding things and adding things and adding things. And my good friend Doug Rogers, who's been doing this with me for 10 years, he and I usually watch for those scenarios where we see that happening on a page, and we try to come in and tie it all together again. So it just makes a little cohesive sense of the entirety of the project that way for everybody. So your narrative voices are a great complement to the stories. Oh, well, that's very nice of you. I like doing voices. I'm a weird one. Somebody asked me in a meeting I was in last week that said, how many different voices can you do at once? And I started singing Labyrinth with all the puppet voices and David Bowie, and it was ridiculous. It was silly fun, but good fun just the same. So I'm trying to continue along with the structure of the engine It looks a little lopsided right now because there's this pistons that stick out here. But the next part of the fuselage, that's what it's called. Or is that the plane? Maybe, I don't know. But it starts to expand out now. So hopefully there'll be a little more cohesive balance into the weight and the shape of the thing as we go on here. If I do it correctly, as correctly as I can, I'm interpreting as I go. Jim Luan asked you to voice characters, right? Yep, I did. And in his last big project, The Full Fungus. And here's some exciting news, folks. Coming up soon is the 500th broadcast episode on YouTube of the Artcasters, which is a group of people that talk about art. And I'm going to be doing some voice stuff for them too. Like, meanwhile at the Hall of Justice. Just not what I'll be talking about. Yeah, I love different voices of different characters, and it's funny when you start realizing different people that are doing voices. Like Casey Kasem from American Top 40 was the voice of Robin in the Super Friends cartoon. And Ted White from Mary Tyler Moore is the narrator that would say, meanwhile at the Hall of Justice. So, I used to call up a place I worked and tease one of my co-workers. He really enjoyed Casey Kasem when he was on the air. And so I would call up and say, and he'd answer the phone and I'd say, I'm Casey Kasem, this is American Top 40. I'd read him a letter, and the letter is describing whatever his hijinks were that weekend before. And then I would refer to a random song to be played in order to help this person solve this dilemma. Casey, I just can't stop drinking. I was out this weekend and I had way too much alcohol in my system. Could you play I Just Can't Get Enough by Depeche Mode? such. And then I'd hang up on him. And he'd always ask other staff people, what is this? What is this song? And they'd try to find it for him and put it on. He's like, no, for goodness sakes. You used to listen to that show, Casey K. Yep. That was my favorite part of it. This week I received a letter, and it goes as follows. It's hard to imagine that that's the voice of Robin on the Super Friends. So I'm trying to put in all these kinds of different parts as so I'm continuing this motif, the shape of the structure, and putting in all the little bits as we go through. So that's the idea here, folks. Another thing I used to like to do was Mike Bradyisms. And if you're old enough to, or have been fortunate enough to see the Brady Bunch, maybe not the originals, but the syndication. I used to absolutely, because I grew up without a father, I used to absolutely love whenever one of the kids came to their dad with a problem. What seems to be the problem, and there's a girl at school that I don't know how I can get her to just have a nice conversation with me. I think she's very nice. Well, have you tried talking to her? And then the logic that he would use on his kids was so roundabout that it made sense of, like, it didn't make sense, but it made sense of itself. And it was the most useless, Well, there's a girl you want to talk to. You're never going to talk to her unless you walk over and say something. And if you say something to her, well, before you know it, you're talking. All right, give it a try. Wow, thanks, Dad. I'm like, so I've spent my entire life passing logic on that way to young people. I'm very helpful that way. Because if you don't pass on logic, anyways. But that's how I learned life lessons from television dads. And when I was a kid and we'd say goodnight, people would say goodnight to each other, I always ended it with goodnight, John Boy. Which again, who's going to get a Walton's reference these days? So I'm putting in some of the piping that is in the construct. All kinds of different fluids and air tubes. Just trying to clean off the tip of my brush a little bit. Oh, wow. Is that from my bad fatherly advice impression? So now we're going to connect these parts to the mooring here. Got a lot of ink on the tip of the brush here. Just clean that out a little bit. And I'm doing it in this ink reservoir that I picked up at the Craft Hive, so that I can dip back into that and, keep us in the ink, if you know what I mean. So just lots of complex little shapes. In motion picture, when they're in model making, all of the little fiddly details that they put on the models and in the sets, and in the hallways and sci-fi programs and on, things like that, they call them greebles, just little bits of things. And oftentimes what they make these things out of, like the Star Destroyers from Star Wars were made out of, and the Death Star were made out of innumerable amounts of battleship model kits, things like that, and built into this lattice work of structures that, take up the surface of the Death Star, or, the underside of and the back of the Star Destroyers. And it's all very interesting. You can, if you look hard enough and you know anything about boats and stuff, you will recognize the odd part that's on it. So I'm continuing around this shape again, and I'm positioning my pinky finger's knuckle on the outside of the page so that I don't rub through the ink work already. But this is just drawing an airplane engine. We know it's an airplane engine. It does not necessarily mean that that's what I'm going to use it for. We could turn this into some kind of fancy device that's designed by somebody who's trying to find a better way to create a sugar simulant product that doesn't have as many negative effects for you as many of the sweeteners do. Yeah, and this is the machine he's going to do that and make that with. Who knows? Point is, it's our story. We're going to do what we want. So I'm just trying to think about perspective as I go. So as I'm drawing in objects, I'm trying to continue them along this direction. So if I've got a little reservoir here with a cap piece on it, that reservoir is aiming in this direction here as well. If there's this bulbous, container of shape, the open end of it would move to the top. These might not be necessarily things that I would see in a resource image, but what they are is like an internal logic that we're going to incorporate into our drawing, which identifiably establishes our own rough set of rules. Oh, take care. Good to see you, Chad. Thanks very much. Monday, 6 to 9. TAP, Center for Creativity. That's where our jam is here. Red page yesterday looks really well. Oh, well, thanks. Yeah, I got carried away and drew it twice as big. I added a whole other 11 by 17 page to it. Why? I don't know. So I'm going to put in a large object into the image here. And so it's all just circles, squares, triangles, and variations therein. But you can, they all go together. So it's a different style, the way that I'm doing the linear element here, as opposed to this being a more loose and washy kind of approach. Same brush, more diluted ink, and this is, making sure that I've got a nice crisp and distinctly dark black ink. Yes, Corbin. Okay, sit down. He's just telling me he's here. That's what he does. Comes in and says, I am just letting you know I'm here. I don't want you to be scared. Did you know that I'm a cat? Yeah. He could also be saying that for all I know. So, hopefully this looks like a thing. A complex thing of lots of little parts and tubes and some kind of framing structure. But at the point that I'm at now is that I'm almost at the part where the big fan blades are going to come together. It's where, we got a few more minutes here. So I'm just going to tuck this underneath here. And then we'll put this bit of business. So now our piping has gone underneath. So today I got off the cane. Today was my last day of using my cane again. So I'm very happy, folks. Thank you to Quantum Physiotherapy, Oxford Street, East London, Ontario. I mean that. I'm really appreciative that I was able to go through their help today, move on to a different plateau here. So I appreciate it. So here is, I'm going to put the last bits of pieces here in the bottom. So now we've got trick is keeping those lines the same. When you put a weight of a line down, you want to have the next line have the same sort of weight to it. So that's tricky. Thanks very much, Linda. I'm curious what art Tim's working on right now. Tim is Linda's very talented son. Yeah. Congratulations on moving forward in your health journey. Oh, thanks very much. Appreciate that. Well, I'm happy to be back to being able to stream again. And I had planned to come back earlier and then had a bit of a thing. But here we are. We got back on the 19th. I think that, well, this is our third Wednesday night one page comic sesh, and then Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday at noon. So it's, yeah, feeling good. Tim just finished 15 Valentine's cards. Oh my goodness. That's fantastic. That's pretty good. That's a lot of Valentines. Oh my goodness, Tim. That's always nice. It's always nice when somebody does that. I've got a friend, Derek, who does Christmas cards every year, and he hands them out to friends and family and coworkers. And every year, I don't get one. But he does give me the original art, which is something I've been collecting for a few years now. Just really great. Derek is, good job, Tim. Derek is quite glad to have them finished. I don't doubt that. My gosh, that's a lot of work. Derek Latimer is, he's done 2 issues of his book, Believe It now. And he's done third 40, like, so these are 48 or 52 page books, and his third book is called Rabid. It's about a zombie survivor, or some kind of post-apocalyptic survival. People living in a bunker. And Lucy is shouting at me from the doorway. Lucy. Lucy is a year now, and she gets very upset if Corbin will not. She goes over and head bops Corbin, who is a very understanding old man, puts up with a lot of her malarkey and her energy. But she gets really upset if when she bops him with her head, if he doesn't clean her neck, because she's adopted him as her dad. Corbin's 15 now. Lucy is Lori's cat. Corbin is my guy. They tend to be patterned on us, and so Lucy spends all of her time with Lori. That's Lori's at the office downtown, and then she harasses Corbin and I all day. Kika says, hi, Lucy. My cat just came to see why my iPod meowed. Oh, that's fantastic. Cats are smart. They know, hey, who's this potential person trying to eat my food? Where did this noise come from? Are you replacing me? I hope this is making sense to people. Kika's 15. Nico's 5. There you go. You got the same thing. The older cat and the younger cat. And has Kika adopted Nico or as a surrogate parent? Or are they just nice and bonded that they take time curled up together and grooming each other? Because that's really what they're doing, is making sure each other are tidy, and which is something that cats, when they get along, do that. Unless one cat has a problem with people being in their personal space, like my cat Baby used to. There were no grooming sessions with her and Corbin. Cats are smart. I'm live. I'm alive. Alive. Yep, we're drawing an airplane engine. You know, for the kids back home. An airplane engine. It's not just for breakfast anymore. So this is a water reservoir brush for doing watercolors with that I have filled with ink instead. So that's great. Kiko's the best. Nico is bigger than her. They chase each other at night. Well, Corbin is the boss, and he is at least twice the size of Lucy. At least. Corbin's a very big boy. It's funny how cats take after their owners. He's very large, like he's, you know, proportionately a little oversized, like his petite owner. That's me. I'm petite. Or in French, it's called petite. Or oui. These drawings are ridiculously good. Man, oh, thanks, bud. So I'm just testing out this system I've set up. Now I've also got it in white so that I can draw on black surfaces. You know, because I like doing that. And of course, the challenge of drawing white on a dark surface is that you don't draw the lines, you draw the spaces within them. So I wouldn't draw the outsides of the tubes here. I draw the tube. So yeah, so just little objects and bits and bobs, all little, they may not be in the right order. They may not be in a specific, you know, location that it would actually be found on a jet engine, but they're all just little, look at a reference photo for a second and then just draw whatever little bit you're seeing wherever you can fit it in. Don't worry too much about, is it going to be exact? Well, unless somebody is purposely paying you to do an exact duplicate of a drawing of their engine, their airplane engine. Who cares? What type of ink? India ink? Yep. This is India ink. Archival ink? Well, archival level drawing resources. There are things that can be done. Spray fixatives, coatings, different things like that for different marks made. That can be done to give something more archival quality to it. That I'm not so worried about archival quality materials that I'm using along the way, as far as it goes from marketing tools. Why, in my case, I say, why invest in that expense? I don't know that 5 years from now it's gonna matter to anybody. And despite that, and using what resources and things, I've got paintings and drawings and things that are still out in the world, that are decades and decades old now. Don't draw the tube. Don't draw the outside of the tube. Be the tube. No, 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 no. No, 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 be the tube. That's good advice, Chevy Chase. I like it. So now I'm at the point where I'm coming up on the structure for the engine. Yeah, the propeller. Is it propeller? The fans, the blades. You know what I mean. So I've already started laying in this line as a sort of cutoff point for me for all of these greeble details. So I'm just continuing this through. When I was a young man, I often thought to myself, how will I draw the tubes? And it was a wise master that told me one day. That master said, don't draw the tube. Don't draw the outside of the tube. Be the tube. And I've been trying to live up to that advice ever since. But I'm older now since I've heard that. Corbin just added in a comment that yes, I am. Thanks very much, Corbin. That's rude, buddy. So I've got the structure here that I'm following for the fan blade as it heads around the object here. Yeah, this seems fun. So it's not about how do I draw the whole thing. It's let me focus on drawing this part right now. And then the next part, and the next part, and so on, etc., etc. And before you know it, you're assembling the larger object. Does it have a sense of internal consistency? Well, to the best of your ability. One thing moves into another. Just like the song says. So I'm carrying on this structural frame so you can see now how here's the oval starting to come together for where the fan blades are going to be. Hopefully that makes some sense. I meant to advise, don't draw the tube, etc., but one should never, ever, by no means, ever draw the tube. The tubes! Sushi! That's a tube song about sushi. So I haven't squeezed a lot of ink out. The ink that I have charged the brush part with, that's dolloped onto the ink tray, I keep dipping into to utilize that ink for the composition. One year, I watched all the airplane disaster documentaries I could find on YouTube. Now I'm watching documentaries on Jane Austen. Practically the same thing. That's a bit of a leap from one to the next. She's a beaut. She's a Buick. So now I'm gonna put some of that assembly down here at the bottom, and then I gotta come back up. I might have to flip the drawing over and come at the top so that I'm not, because it's getting pretty far to balance my finger out to keep me over top a bit without smudging it. So I might have set myself up with a bit of a dilemma. So we'll see how that goes. So these are clamp bolts that I'm putting through here now. So this is where you would put, these are one of the ways that you would attach the front face to this thing with these little pockets that are going through there. So I'm trying to think about some of the things as I'm drawing. That what does this look like? I know what this kind of looks like, but and that can inform me a little bit about where what needs to be. And, I'm trying to do my best to have a consistent series of shapes. So this is the outside lip of the external fan part. There's one about how the experts dismantle a 747 jumbo jet for maintenance, and it's impressive all that they do. Oh, I can imagine. I'm working my way through the girl living in the wilderness alone and building a one-room cabin in the ground videos. 22 or 23% of the way through. That's pretty cool. I've been watching a guy for 3 years now restore a chateau that was burned down to its basic framework. And it's 7 floors altogether. He's got the roof, the steeple, the 3 separate roofs. There, the steeple part would be the 7th floor. I think it's 6th or 7th. And it's so impressive that he's been building it up floor by floor by floor. And then, roofs on top of those. And now the windows are going in at this point. And it's been so compelling to watch. He's had a few assistants over the time, 3 core people that have come back to help out. And unfortunately, one of them passed away this year, just recently. So it's really sad because you get invested in watching these laborers, and the process that they're going through, and you get a fair amount of insight into their character. And, so you feel a little bonded to characters there that you're watching. So I'm continuing this motif as I come around to this side now. And I am trying to balance out the direction of the oval shape as I move around to this side as well. A lot of ink in that spot. 7 floors. It's amazing. These girls been having 9 minutes and 3 seconds. It takes all summer. Oh yeah, well that's the thing with time lapse, right? It's cool because it expedites the process so the viewers don't get, stay with it because people's attention spans are so short, but it doesn't really sell how much effort that took, how hard that was to do. Right? That's tough. So now I'm doing I'm starting to arc out the shape of the blades at this point. So that's the theory. I think I need to dibble dabble a little more ink in there. So up top here is an extended section, some kind of control setup here. So, trying to figure out the little bits as we go along, right? That's pretty cool to watch those, though, when people are, somebody suggested I do time-lapse drawings, because then more people will watch them. And I'm like, that's a lot of work. I can't draw as fast as a time-lapse. I'm just a human boy. That'd be tough, have all those hard labors, those hard-won labors to be reduced down to moments. Yeah, I got to flip it over at this point, folks. If I time-lapse this like a summer taking 7 minutes, then this drawing would take a total of not 0.5 seconds. Okay, so now I can start really plotting out the shape of the fan blade. And hopefully I'm going to do it so it doesn't blow. It's a fan joke, folks. Try the real. Ish, ish. I like the videos Scott Strickland's been doing with time lapse. Yeah, but yeah, so much work. Oh yeah, you got to draw that fast. When do you have time to sharpen your pencils? A little bit of fuzzy business there at the bottom, but But before I get too far across on here, let's do these fan blades. So if the center is going to be here, and then it's going to taper in to a nose point. like so. And then we'll just do some concentric rings around that. That's the theory. Yeah, I like Scott. I like what Scott does too. I mean, Scott is the first person that when I came on to the YouTubes, Scott Circlin is really the first person that I met. So yeah, folks, upcoming 500th episode of Artcasters. Very cool. So here is the central part of the engine. I would have used ellipse stencils. Oh, well, I wouldn't blame you. My goodness. Okay, so I'm going to do the same arcing pattern as we move through. Now, as we go farther in, we start to see this. I think it's starting to look like a fan. Ish, you know. I don't know how exciting this has been tonight there, folks, watching me draw an airplane engine. I'm sorry if it's a boring bit of whatnot, but so I'm allowing the dry brush, like not redrawing in some ink, so that I can get this nice little granular pattern to imply the shadow in the blades. So there's a bit of a hiccup over here, but maybe what I can do is this, and that should write it. I'll do dry brushy right now. There we go. So there's our airplane engine coming together. Center section where the blades get attached is painted in spirals so people can tell if it's spinning so they don't come close to it. Is that right? Oh, that's cool. So they don't lose their hats. Oh, these airplanes. Hat thieves, I tell you. Billy, where's your hat? Mom, did you go through the airport? Mom, stay out of the airport, I told you, Billy. I can't keep affording all these new hats because of the airplanes. Oh, I switched sides here. Ah. That's all right. So it dries pretty quick, this ink. It's kind of nice, that. Okay. Ish, you know, kind of, sort of ish. Let's flip it over and see what it looks like. Yeah, we got a little bit of cleaning up here to do. I'm having fun. I get to watch more of the stream at night than when you go earlier. Oh, nice. This afternoon, I checked out of work and took an old man nap. There you go, Paul. That's how you do it. It felt so good. Yep, and the best thing to do when having an afternoon nap is to snore as loud as one possibly can. It is a way of telling others around you, do not approach the bear in the den, for it is time for hibernation. Okay, well, this is last little bits, and there we go. So this is continuing these places for affixing bolts to the exterior of the compartment. See, this is really going to annoy me. Yeah, that's really going to annoy me, that line. Now it's shading. If you've come up with a big mistake, the best thing to do for it is turn it into shading. All right, so here's our last couple of bits of funny business here. So that we've got a few more little dooley-doos and whatnots. To place on the structure itself, and then I think we're about wrapped up on our airplane engine. So I'm just trying to find some kind of balance, adding little bits of business around the outside here, and then knowing that to balance out this piece at the top, we'll put this last couple of lines in here, and then there we go. So there we are. There's our There's our airplane engine. Yeah, it's a little wonky, but you know, it does the job. So there we go. I don't snore when I'm asleep. I roar. Last night I almost kicked her in the face. I'm not sure how I even got my leg like that. I think she's going to put me out soon, poor lady. My brother-in-law snores so loud that my sister has lost a bit of her hearing. Oh my goodness. That's loud. The big challenge for people when they get sleep apnea is that their loved one has to get used to sleeping with Darth Vader. Because in order to help them with their sleep apnea, they wear these breathing things on their face. And I heard somebody that has one of those, and it really does sound like. I just have yet to hear him say, "Where are the rebel plans?" All right. Well, I'll keep fiddling with this all night long unless I force myself to stop here. I'll just keep adding one little bit of nonsense or another. Why? Because I'm silly like that. That's why. But actually, this is making me happy because it's balancing out the asymmetry that was really annoying me. I'll put one last device in here. After a while, you just start making up shapes together and say, oh, well, this is a doodly-doo and that's a woolly-what. And this is where the cheese gets made. Okay. Well, that's a great stream. Thanks. Oh, thank you everybody for coming out. Lucky for me when I started snoring. Oh, there you go. Lucky guy. Okay, so there's our aircraft engine. And yeah, happy days. So I'll incorporate this into whatever tomorrow's one page is going to be. I have no idea yet. And, you know, we'll see how that goes. Thanks, everybody, for coming by. So I'm going to do a random thing that I normally do not, and that is I'm going to start promoting for more. If anybody knows anybody that might want to follow in on the stream, please feel free to tell your friends, because there's more things that I can do if I have 500 people, and I'm at 420. So I didn't know what that meant. Somebody was having a great old time telling me, hey, check it out, man, you're 420. And I'm like, I don't know what that means. What's the significance of it? And then I found out, and I'm like, oh, well, very exciting. So yeah, please, if you know anybody that might have fun with the stream, or let me know. And Chris was with us on Monday on the stream here. And if anybody else feels that they might like come and hang out, please let me know. Love to have you. So in the meantime, that's it for me tonight. Thanks everybody for coming and hanging out. And I hope you all have a good evening. I will be back tomorrow at 12 noon, 12 p.m. EST. So thanks very much. Have a great night. I appreciate everybody coming out. Bye for now.